Hey, what's up, you guys? Bringing another action figure review to you. And this is the Atrocitus Build-A-Figure. This is from the Blackest Night wave from DC Multiverse McFarlane. And this figure is dope. This figure is dope. I love this figure. I love it. I absolutely love Atrocitus. I love him as a character. And I absolutely love this figure. This figure is dope. It's so good. So there's so much good about it, but there are some negatives and some points that I will bring up. So let's just jump straight into it. So these black lines in black wash falls through with his head. And it looks really good. And also he has a nice black wash in his face. His face looks wonderful. His face looks absolutely great. I love it. I love the wash that they put in there, the color of his eyes, his teeth, all the detail in his face is fantastic. But these black lines are follow through to his head, and it falls through to the back of his head. There's some glue there. I had to glue this piece on because this piece is flimsy and it kept coming off. And it really annoyed me. I hate gluing my figures, but sometimes if I have to, I will. And in this case, it was necessary that I glued them, and I did. Because this piece is just, every time you try to rotate it or do something, you know, it would just fly off, and it was annoying. So I had to glue it. Had to be done. And I tried to be as careful as I could be, but I guess little glue spurts here and a little bit of glue spurts there. It could have been way worse though. So I'm okay with that. But like I was talking about his head with the black lines, it doesn't fall through the rest of his costume. McFarlane cheaped out. They shouldn't have did that. There's really no excuse for it. They could have followed the black lines throughout his costume, but you still see the panel lining, which is good. You still see the lines. It's just no black wash going over it like they did with his head. And that's disappointing. And I don't really appreciate that, McFarlane. I know, I get it. I know why they did it, because they're trying to cut costs. So they're cutting costs where they can, and I get it. But but you know, that still doesn't make it better. You know, just because you trying to cut costs, it doesn't, you know, that doesn't excuse it, you know. And I feel that these toy companies make a lot of money. McFarlane makes a lot of money. He putting out these figures. And, you know, like I said, I get why they doing it, but they still shouldn't do it. You know, you should give 110% when you're doing these figures. And, you know, and they worked hard on this figure. They work hard on all their figures, most of them anyway. And I do appreciate that. And this Atrocitus figure is fantastic. He is immaculate. His face is immaculate. I love what they did with his face. And I like what they did with the rest of his body. The fact that they didn't put the black lines in there. I won't go that far and say that it's cheap. Somebody on YouTube who reviewed him said he looks cheap. I won't go that far. He doesn't look cheap, but he doesn't look as well. He could have looked 100 times better. Let's just put it that way. He still looks great. He still looks fantastic, even with the, you know, black lines not going throughout his costume. He still looks fantastic. He looks absolutely immaculate. So you see his boots. You see the lining going through there. You see that, and this nice texturing. I love this. Now this is a huge plus. This texturing that they put throughout his costume is fantastic. I love that texturing. It just makes him pop. You know, it just makes him pop a whole lot more. I love that texturing, that detail. I absolutely love it. Now the other egregious point, they didn't have him come with any accessories. Now he could have came with that cat. I forgot the cat's name, but Atrocitus has a cat that rides shotgun on his shoulder. They could have had him come with that cat. I don't know the cat's name. I forgot. But they could have had him come with that cat. But at least bare minimum, this is inexcusable. He could have came with a red lantern. He did not come with a lantern. He is a red lantern. He's Atrocitus. He's the leader of the Red Lanterns. He should have came with a red lantern. There's no excuse for that. He absolutely should have came with a red lantern. He didn't. It sucks. It bums me out. But yeah, he definitely should have came with a red lantern. Now, there's some people on YouTube who has the old DC Direct Atrocitus, and they have that red lantern from that DC Direct Atrocitus. this is my first Red Lantern figure, so I don't have the luxury of having that Red Lantern handy that I can give to him. I don't have any Red Lantern. I saw another YouTuber who brought something. I think he brought it from China or he brought it from somewhere, and he bought a Red Lantern for his multiverse Atrocitus. I have to look it up. I have to look for it. I guess maybe I'll look on eBay, see if I can find something. I'll check it out, see if I can get him a Red Lantern. But that is egregious. That is inexcusable. There's no way McFarlane should have did that, have him come with no accessories. He should. Now, I know like some of the mega figures didn't come with accessories either, like, you know, Clayface, Bane, Man-Bat, like, but this is not a mega figure. This is a builder figure. I mean, I don't really see much difference, really, to be honest. But what I will say is that he should have came with an accessory. And the one accessory he should have undoubtedly come with was his Red Lantern. Another problem I have is his hand, his fisted hand. Now, as you can see, his fisted hand has his Red Lantern ring. And the Red Lantern ring just blends in. It blends in with his hand. So they should have used a different coat of red. They should have used a different color red, or they should have used a different color, maybe gold, something like that, because his hand, like, the ring is there. The Red Lantern ring is there, but it's just blending in with his hand. And that, I find that inexcusable as well. I don't like that either. So with all the bad stuff out of the way, the good points is that his face is immaculate. I love his face. All the sculpted detail in his face, and also the black wash. I love the texturing throughout his costume. No doubt about that. I like the panel linings throughout his costume too. It's just unfortunate they didn't follow through with the black lines. And this figure is a win. I mean, it's just so much good with this figure, so much that they did right. I like how with his other hand, you see his claws. You know, he has clawed fingers. I like that. There's a lot about this figure that I like. I like the red and black. I like the way they chose to sculpt it, and I like the way how they chose to color it. This figure is really dope. It is a sick, awesome figure, and I'm really, really glad. I'm really happy I got him. This is my first Atrocitus in my collection, and this is the Atrocitus that I've been waiting for. It's the same thing like my Bane. When I did my Bane review, that Bane, the DC Multiverse Bane, that was the Bane I've been waiting my whole life for. And this is the Atrocitus I've been waiting my whole collecting life for. So really, really awesome figure. Really, really dope. So I'm enjoying the hell out of him right now. So this figure is really knocking my socks off, minus the bad points, minus that. But, you know, I'm going to ding it a couple of points because there was some things that, you know, should have been done better with this figure. He's not getting a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, so that should tell you where I'm going with this. But he's still a very awesome figure, and I'm very happy to have him. So let's jump into Articulation. So Articulation is, he can't really look up. Not really. No, he can't look up. But he can look down, which is good. He does have a little bit of attitude there. He can move to the left and to the right. His arms can go out a really great amount, but because I glued his thing here, I'm not going to force it. And of course, it can rotate. It can rotate all the way around, but like I said, I glued my thing. So he does have an upper bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. He does have wrist and hinge rotation. And he can pivot side to side. He has an upper torso movement. He has a lower torso movement. And he does have a crunch. He can go back a little bit. He can crunch him. Not really that much, but he has that lower articulation. He can split, very good. He can kick forward, about that much. He can kick back, only a tiny bit. He does have an upper thigh swivel. He does have jointed, double jointed knees, and there's no boot rotation. He does have full ball hinge rotation that can go all the way around, and that can hinge up and hinge down. He does have ankle pivot as well, and he does have a butterfly joint in here. Go out about that much and go back in about that much. So articulation is not bad for Mr. Atrocitus. Could it be better? Yeah, but it's not bad. I don't have a problem with it. I like his articulation. For me, it's good. I'm good with it. So here's Atrocitus paired up with some Megafigs. He's taller, he's bigger than Clayface, and he's not bigger than Bane. Bane is still bigger. So Atrocitus is not bigger than Bane. But Atrocitus is up there a little bit. He's not that far from Bane. Bane is not that much bigger than him, but Bane is still huge. He is still huge, so that's how we pair that up. And here we have him next to Man-Bat, and him and Man-Bat pretty close. They're pretty close, around the same height. They're around the same height, so that's not bad. And here we have him next to my Hal Jordan, my custom Hal Jordan. So that just goes to show you how big he is compared to like a regular 6 to 7 inch. So that just goes to show you, Atrocitus is huge. He's huge. So my final thoughts on this figure is he gets an 8 out of 10. He gets an 8 out of 10, but he is, if you are a Green Lantern fan, he's a must get. If you're a fan of Atrocitus as a character, like I am, he's definitely a must get. You have to get this figure. Do you have to buy the whole Build-A-Figure wave set? If you want to, if you want those other figures, you can. I didn't want them. There's none of those figures I really wanted. Maybe except for Kyle Rayner. I think Kyle Rayner I probably did want, but I didn't get. I probably will get Kyle Rayner eventually, loose off eBay or something like that. I'll probably get him eventually. But this Atrocitus is a must get. If you're a fan, he's a must get. If you're not a fan, he's still an awesome figure to have in your collection. So I definitely recommend him. He gets an 8 out of 10. And he is a dope figure, and I'm so happy to add him to my collection. So that's been my review, guys, of the DC McFarlane Atrocitus Build-A-Figure way. This has been my review, and I got a couple more reviews I need to get out as soon as I can. But yeah, this has been my review. So until next time, see ya.